Coach, if I tell you before the game you're going to end up with 500 yards of total offense, I know you have to feel pretty good about your team's performance. But as you all have gone back and looked at it, just a general overall thought now that you've had a chance to digest things.
I mean, when you lose, it never feels good. You know what I mean, Pete? I don't know if I've ever been involved with the game like that, though. We had 101 plays. We had the ball for over 40 minutes, rushed for 370, over 30 points. But I feel like we should have had 50, and just, it's just tough. I mean, we like Coach Niu say, 80% of the time we play good on defense, but we can't give up big plays. You know what I mean? We just, they didn't have the ball very long, but they didn't need to. They scored so quickly. You know what I mean? So that I know Coach Newberry is frustrated with that. Just, giving up big plays, turnovers killed us too. You know what I mean? I feel like if we don't turn the ball over, then we're still, we take the lead, finally take the lead. We're feeling good about ourselves. They come back in 2 plays and score. But I'm like, all right, it's all right. Because I felt pretty good about us moving the ball, that we'd be okay. Then we fumbled the ball. So that was discouraging. But I've also told our guys it's a new week. And I said this last week, and this is really the truth, and anybody on this call who says differently, I would never agree to. I mean, we're 2-4. We could very easily, in my mind, we could be 6-0. We could have won every game, but we could also be 0-6. And that's just the reality. There's just such a fine line, and we have to do our job. We got to play better. So I guess that's the most disappointing thing. Just never been in a game like that offensively, and you still don't feel good because you feel like you left a lot on the table. But again, I think we've been playing solid special teams the whole time. The missed field goal, that took a lot of life out of it. We spent all that time, possessing ball. You got to come away with something, and to not get that field goal hurt us too. But for the most part, we've been solid on special teams.
Ty's production on the ground. This offense obviously takes to get to peak efficiency. It takes a while for quarterbacks. Is it a case of he's just continuing to get more comfortable? The vision continues to get better week by week for him playing that position and now seeing, more things to where he can obviously be productive?
Yeah, I just thought he played aggressive, played, obviously his best running game. But people try to slow play him and try to make him carry the ball, which you're like, hey, people do that. You got to make them pay, which he did. And recognizing he's not Malcolm or Keenan, but, Will and Ricky weren't Blazers. But if you try to slow play them and, try to make them carry, people try to force him to carry the ball, you got to be aggressive and put your foot on the ground and go north and south and get 5 yards, which I thought he did a really good job Saturday. But yeah, I thought he ran the ball his best running in his 2 years that he's played.
The fact that you ran the ball so effectively, despite losing different offensive linemen for periods during the course of the game, you got some guys that got a decent amount of snaps that hadn't, Cummings in particular. Just thoughts on the way those guys filled in for each other and still gave you an opportunity to move the football despite using a lot of guys.
Yeah, encouraged by the number of guys that played, the experience reps, game reps. There's nothing that can replicate that. Be honest with you, part of me is like, hey, what are you guys doing? Stay in there. Guys are getting tired. Then you look after the game, we had 101 snaps. You know what I mean? I'm yelling like, what you doing? Just get in there. And, like guys are playing 70 snaps. I mean, normally we play 60 snaps. We play 2 games on offense. So, and normally we don't rotate linemen. The other positions roll. So I thought it was good, Pete, that a lot of guys got to play.
Thank you.
The 101 snaps was the second most in the Niumatalolo era. We had 109 against Toledo. That was a triple overtime game as well. Bill Wagner.
The 100 play games seems like they haven't bode well for us either.
And here's another one for you. This is Stacy's stat. Since 2000, so even before the triple option era, we've had 8 games of 90 plays or more. We won one of them, which was shocking to me. But that's Wags.
That Toledo team had Kareem Hunt.
He did. Yes, they did.
So, Coach, on that topic, he just mentioned, I guess Sam Glover went out, then he was replaced by Trey Cummings, I believe, and then Trey went out. Are you concerned about where you are at that position?
I think they'll be available, Wags. You know what I mean? I think those guys will be available. They played a ton of snaps, but I think they're going to be available.
And then Bijan again. I'm surprised this has drug on this long. I never imagined whatever happened to him at the beginning of the season are you concerned that you're not going to get him back?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've kind of resigned myself to that thought, you know, because every time maybe this might be the week, you know, it's not. So just, you know, I'm resigned to the fact that, you know, Dan's going to be our kicker, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. Supposedly he's going to try again this week, and so we'll see how that goes, Wags.
So I'm guessing with the going for it on fourth down early in the first quarter, a sense that you thought it was going to be a shootout and that you had to match touchdown for touchdown, that settling for field goals probably wasn't going to get it done.
I don't know if I got that sense early on. I think just, you know, I think Dan's a really good kicker, but his range isn't like Bijan's, you know what I mean? And so maybe some of those balls that we would kick the field goal, and we were kind of in that no man's land, that punting didn't really help us. Normally, we would put Bijan in there, kick the football. So you play. With that said, you know, your other calls are a little bit different, knowing that you're probably going to go for it, but it does change your thought process a little bit. You know, we kind of know Dan's range. Like I said, he's been really solid this whole year, but it was kind of just felt uncomfortable. It felt like it was out of his range, you know. So, but with Bijan, I would have stuck Bijan out there.
So you scored 21 points and I think had about 235 yards in the fourth quarter alone. Anything as you go back and look at those 3 long touchdown drives of 75, 75, and 80 that you really liked? It was a kind of a mixture of pass and run because you were behind and you did have to throw a little bit. And Ty did connect on some nice passes that did help. But was there anything you took from those 3 drives that you think really will help going forward?
No, I feel like we were moving the ball in the other drives. We just didn't finish them. You know, we just didn't finish those drives. You know, and so you know, I guess those are the disappointing things. There's some stuff early on that we felt like we had. We turned the guy loose on one of the passes that we have Jaden's wide open, and we, you know, had a protection breakdown there off the edge. So Ty had to just throw the ball up with the pick. I mean, Jaden's wide open. I mean, he's going to get the first down and he may score. You know what I mean? But he had to just throw the ball up because it was fourth down. And so those are the frustrating things, because it wasn't anything elaborate they did. They just brought an edge rusher. We didn't get out for him. You know, those are the frustrating thing for it. You know, I know Coach Ingram and Coach O'Rourke are frustrated, Coach Jasper and myself, just on those kind of stuff, because those are, you know, rudimentary stuff. You know what I mean? Just get out for the edge pressure.
Well, last for me, you spoke of getting open. Nathan Kent did what we thought he might be able to do with his speed. He took the top off he got behind deep, and unfortunately it was right in his hands and he missed it.
Yeah, and I know he'll continue to keep working because, like you said, I mean, the kid can run, and, you know, just seeing the kid after he's devastated, I know he's going to be probably one of the first guys out there today working on catching, and he's such a great kid. You know, every day he works hard, doesn't say anything, keeps his mouth quiet and wags, and I think the kid has a really bright future. But yeah, he got open, and it was a great throw by Ty. I think he hit him in the head, you know what I mean, hit him in the face mask, but he'll get better.
Kareem.
Hey Ken, how you doing today?
Hey, Kareem.
I wanted to go back to Ty and had a couple on him and his performance real quick. Did it feel like something kind of has clicked just from all of his experience? Do you feel something like clicked where he's seeing something different now, or was it also kind of a little bit of a manufacturer of how they were playing them?
I really believe that he grew up on Saturday. You know, he played whatever, 101 snaps. He played every snap. That's a lot of snaps. And, he was taking some shots. And he continued to keep playing, kept, stood in there at the end and threw some good balls. He put his foot in the ground and had some good runs. I just, I texted him after the game that just like, I feel like, that hopefully he grew up that game. I just feel like I was proud of the way he battled. I also said some plays that he missed. I'm always honest with him. Hey, you missed these plays and you got to make those. But, for playing 101 snaps, I thought he did a lot of good things.
When you say grew up, is that more of a understanding and feeling the moment of the game, or is that also, the technical aspects of running the offense?
I think all of it, Kareem. I think all of the above that you just said. I thought he improved in all of those. It was warm in Dallas. It's been a lot, obviously colder here on the East Coast. Some of our kids they battled through all of that. I thought our trainers and our nutritionists, dietitian Scott Marr, and our strength people, Coach Fitz and Jim Barrett and stuff did a great job because we didn't have a lot of kids cramp. But I thought he grew up tied through that he fought through that. He took some shots and I see him get up and got back in the huddle, and that was a, pretty athletic group. And I think he noticed early on that they're trying to, their thought process, hey, take away the fullback, take away the pitch, make him run the ball. And I was grateful that he showed people that if you do that, he's going to get 8 and tuck it up. And we're fine with that. Like I said, we don't expect him to be Malcolm and turn up the field and get 40. But we'll just keep moving the sticks. We'll take 6 yards, duck it up and get up the field. And so I think he recognized that just to play more aggressive, pick his spots. Still got the ball distributed, but he did a lot of good things that way.
And one last one for me, also, it's still sticking out with Ty. I'm curious, it's been an up and down couple years. What strides that has he made that you've been most impressed with from where he started to where he is now?
I feel like he's come to work every day, continues to keep battling, so I've been impressed with them in that way. And I know Coach Jasper continues to help him with his game leadership stuff and, just making sure that he stays strong physically and mentally because everybody looks at him. I think he's improved that way. He's made some good decisions with the football, and some we like take back, but I think for the most part, he's run our offense well, and just like I said, I mean, that turnover hurt us. But, that's, we got to hold on to the football, but that, looking at the film, we don't think that was Ty's fault, but when you're involved as a quarterback, it's always going to be your fault, you know what I mean? Because you're half of it. So you're never absolved from it, and so, but I think he's grown up a lot. I think he's recognized we've been in the battles, we've had, 3 one-score losses. You know what I mean? And just, we got to start winning those, those one-score losses. I mean, we got to find a way to win those games. And hopefully some of this stuff will just continue. He'll continue to improve and help pull us through on some of these close losses that we have to get some W's.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Kareem.
Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, in your time in the American Athletic Conference, what has it been about Houston that makes them such a tough team year in and year out, this program?
Well, they've always had really good football coaches since I've been in the league. Tom Herman, to Dana, those are, elite football coaches. They got really good personnel. They got some transfers too. So they've done a good job recruiting, a good job in the transfer portal and getting guys, and they do a good job developing their players. And so when you got a combination of talent plus really good coaches, Scott put 44 transfers. I think that's probably been the biggest change in our league since we got into it. when we first got into our league and we saw our teams, I mean, SMU didn't look like the SMU Saturday that we played, when we first got into the league, and so everybody looks better. We were watching last year's game and, we were kind of chuckling at a couple plays that their 3 technique, swam one of our guards and, we're yelling at him and the guy's a first round draft choice. So, like, come on, man. Just we have a couple of guys going to be on submarines next year, trying to drop, block, first round draft choice. But I think that's been the 2 biggest things, Scott. They really good coaches. Like, obviously, Dana's an elite coach, and they got really good players. So it's a tough out, man.
Through 6 games, Houston, a lot like you guys, what you were saying before, a team a lot like you that maybe could be 5-1, maybe, with some breaks 6-0, but has also had some struggles. A team that's kind of gone through this first 6 games, a lot similar to Navy.
Yeah, they've had some close games. I'm really impressed with their game last week. They could have folded tents and, and take it in, but to their credit, they kept battling to the end versus obviously we know a very good Memphis team, and Tune seems like he's been there forever, man. It's like, is this guy ever going to graduate, man? It's just like, but just like, the quarterback last week, super fast. People forget how fast this guy is. This kid can run, man. He's super fast. He's got a, NFL arm. He knows Dana's system very well. He's been in it for a long time. So again, everything starts at the trigger puller, and he's really, really good. And he's not just a drop back guy. What I mean? If you give him an edge like he showed in the Memphis game, I mean, he converted a 4th and 11 and a 4th and 8 with his legs. The 4th and 11 is definitely with his legs. What I mean? But it, really good player.
As a play caller, with what the offense has done in the last couple of weeks, how much does that open up to you some things that you've wanted to call this season, but maybe not have been able to?
I don't know. I mean, just I don't know. I mean, we're still calling the same stuff. I mean, we're going to call whatever we need to do to be successful. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm always the end voice now, but there's always collaboration. Just like before, Coach Ash, there's always collaboration when he was end voice, but there's always stuff like, where everything's on the table, you know what I mean, as we're trying to, try to get some W's.
Thanks.
Thanks, Scott.
5 of Houston's 6 games have been decided by 7 points or less. 4 of Navy's 6 games have been decided by 7 points or less. Phil Bergman.
My question has been asked already. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, I'll make another trip around. Pete.
Yeah, Scott got one of mine, but the other one I had, Kenny, is as you and your staff are out evaluating, talent right now, are you finding a decent amount of kids that are still running anything remotely close to the triple, or are you finding kids that are running more spread, read option type stuff and, excuse me, having to, go that route to find future quarterbacks for this offense right now?
Yeah, there might be a couple guys, we recruit nationally, so we're going to find option teams. Every state has a couple guys that are still doing option, but the majority of guys, like you said, Pete, everybody's in the gun. Well, fortunately, I find that most people put their best athlete at quarterback, that they can still run. I mean, they're athletic. I mean, the guy Saturday against SMU, I mean, that guy could do what we do. I mean, obviously that kid could fly. But you see a lot of the Tune could do our stuff. I mean, just there are a lot of guys that are in the spread, but everybody's running RPOs, so they're all athletic. They can all run, and I think parents are smart too. So if you got a kid that's athletic, he's got to start sending him to a quarterback group. Start putting him at 7-on-7, make him the quarterback, and the scholarship money. I mean, it's so I think you see a lot of athletic quarterbacks, Pete, nowadays.
Biggest transformation in the time in the American to me about Houston has been how much their defense has improved to me over the years. And in your mind, has it just been a matter of getting better players and better 11 across the board as you all have faced them?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, the year they had Oliver, and last year they had, I think 3 guys from their defense went to the league, or for trying to think how many, but really good players. And again, you combine that with coaching. I mean, they become tough outs. I mean, it's like there one guy who was a first round draft pick a couple years ago. Dalen would go pitch off him. He's a pitch key, and he'd run down our pitch. I mean, he was that long, and you can't get that close to him because his arms are, like an octopus. He's so long that if you get close to him and knock the ball down, so then you pitch the ball early, then he runs you down, and so you don't deal with that a lot of times. You know what I mean? That your guy you're pitching off runs and tackles a pitch, and they become super super athletic.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Wax.
So when he's run the ball, he's shown that he's a very talented guy, but Anton with the fumbles and then the going the wrong way on a play, which led to a bust play. I mean, what is it tough to have him? I mean, what do you got to do to get him to the point where he can't hurt you?
Well, that's a great question. We're working with him, but we can't turn the ball over. I mean, that can't happen. And so, we're going to continue to keep trying to develop the young man. But at this point, I mean, we just, we're seeing where he stacks up on the depth chart, but, his reps, he's going to have to earn them back, because those are critical, critical mistakes. Going the wrong way that's a critical mistake, but at least you can line up and play again. You turn the ball over, and we turned the ball over, and that was a killer because it was deep in our own territory, so that one is, we got to get that remedy before he gets back on the field.
So you've had some shootouts with this Houston team at 52-31, 46-40, 49-36, 56-41. Do you sense that in a game with Houston, you're probably going to have to put some points on the board?
Yeah, I mean, it always has been the case. Obviously we don't want to. We like to try to do our best to keep them off the field. I feel like last year, we had a chance, hopefully, to go into the halftime 17-0. We gave up the field goal, some plays late there, but we gave up the punt return, and hopefully we can get a lead on them and try to grind them out and keep their offense off the field. I mean, that's always been what we try to do, but it's easier said than done. I mean, they're good on defense, so it's always a formula though. You get it done. We're number 1 in the country now in possession, but we gotta continue to keep putting points on the board, and we're improving at that, but we still gotta get better at that.
So obviously the big plays have been a key thing with the defense, but for the most part this season, they've been able to minimize that and overall play good enough defense for you to win. But Saturday, was that a bit of a setback for the defense overall?
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to give up, that many points and that many plays. I didn't play very long, and they're just the big plays were just so fast. You know what I mean? And they'd score in 3 plays or 2 plays, and those are hard. But just we're always trying to limit X plays, which, like you said, we've done a really good job of doing that. But we can't play like that this Saturday and the rest of the season. We won't survive, Wags. If we play like that, like we did Saturday, I mean, it'd be hard. We'd be hard pressed to win another game. Just like if we don't score points like we did the first part of the season, it'd be hard pressed to win games. You know what I mean? So if we play like we did on Saturday on defense, it's gonna be hard to win games. And if we play like we did against Delaware, it's gonna be hard to win games.
Thanks.
Thanks, Wags.
Kareem.
I've just got one quickie. Since we're talking to Gianni tomorrow, and we're Scott and Stacy were talking about not a ton of guys coming out of DC. I'm just curious, could you share a little bit about his recruitment and how you guys got him there, and what kind of development you've seen from him?
He's got a chance to be as good as we've ever had, and the recruitment of him is pretty simple. We put our best recruiter in the DMV, Ashley Ingram, and our players that we've gotten on the Zaire since Coach Ingram's been there is has been really good. I mean, Gianni, Ray Lane, John Marshall, and I could keep going, but the DMV has picked up a ton just in this area since Ashley's recruited it. I feel like this is a talented area. Good players, good grades. We just got to go find them. We're close to them. So we should always beat the other two service academies if we're going against those guys for this area. And, just Gianni's a great young man, has a chance to have a great career here, and a great, career after for his family. But, love that kid and pulling for him to have a great career.
Quick and easy. Thank you.
Thanks, Kareem.
Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, I know it's not something that your teams have done a lot of over your time at the Naval Academy is get into penalty trouble, but in the past, it's something it seems like you and your staff have been able to correct pretty quickly. Do you have a sense that that's not going to be a concern moving forward with this team with some key penalties like last week?
Yeah, we're still, I think we might have moved up, but I think we're top 5 or third, at least we were least amount penalized going into that game. So hopefully we can get that rectified. I don't know if this gets me banned. I don't know if I should say it, but I saw where they're ranked and penalized and where we're ranked. So hopefully it has a tendency, like when we finish the game, like we have 3 and have 3. Wait a minute, how'd that work out? I mean, we come into, and so, like I said, hopefully that wasn't derogatory. I won't get reprimanded, but it was just an observation, I should say.
And when it comes to the penalties, is it 100% mental that it's an attitude and something, not something physically that you work on in practice, but it just has to be a state of mind?
Yeah, some of it, I think, we just we can't make excuses. We can't have them, especially the pre-snap ones. Some of it, we had a new center in, so maybe he snaps the ball a little bit later than another guy, and maybe we're not dialed in. Maybe guys are tired because we play a lot of snaps, but you can't use any of those as an excuse. You got to focus and sit in there.